37 phone calls. That's how many times my mother tried reaching me while standing at the boat dock, blocked from getting on the ship. The day before, my father sent me a message saying, "Maybe this trip works better if you stay home." I didn't argue back. I didn't get upset. I simply typed, "Okay then." They believed I would just accept it. But when security stopped them from walking onto that beautiful boat, they discovered that staying silent can teach powerful lessons. This isn't just about spending money. This is about what happens when the person who fixes everything stops trying to fit in. My name is Sarah Chen. My whole life, keeping everyone happy was my job, and it always cost me something. Plane tickets, nice dinners, hotel rooms. When I opened my wallet, everyone pretended we were a normal, loving group. So when my parents wanted to celebrate being married for 40 years, I jumped in to help like always. I booked 2 beautiful rooms on the ship, fun activities on different islands, relaxing time at the spa, and even paid for them to sleep at a fancy beach hotel the night before so Mom wouldn't stress about waking up early. $15,000 disappeared from my bank account in one afternoon. Money wasn't the real problem. I convinced myself this was my gift to them, my way of making us feel connected again. Mom, whose name is Patricia, needed everything to look perfect. She wanted beautiful photos she could show everyone online with sweet words about being thankful and blessed. Dad, whose name is Thomas, acted like the peaceful one in our family. His idea of keeping things calm was staying quiet when problems happened. My big brother Jason always got treated like the special child, moody and unpredictable, someone we all walked carefully around. Then there was my baby sister Lily, only 15 years old. She was kind and still thought family meant you were safe. I used to think that too. 7 days before we were supposed to leave, our family group messages stopped coming. Nobody asked about what clothes to pack or which papers to bring. When I sent Mom a text, she only wrote back, so excited with a little pink heart. Jason ignored my messages completely. Lily, who usually sent me funny videos and pictures of her outfits every single day, suddenly went totally quiet. That kind of silence makes a noise. It buzzed in my ears like right before all the lights go out in a storm. I tried telling myself I was worrying too much, that everyone was just really busy getting ready. But somewhere deep inside, I understood that this quietness meant something bad was coming. 3 nights before our departure date, I called Dad to double-check what time. Everyone needed to leave for the airport like I always did. He sounded happy, almost like he was reading words from a script someone else wrote. "Oh, don't worry about us," he said cheerfully. "We arranged our own ride to get there." Something cold and heavy dropped into my belly. "What ride are you talking about?" There was a long pause, long enough for me to understand what was really happening. Then he finally said the words, "We just thought it might be better without you." I stared at the blank wall in front of me, trying to make sense of what he said. Better without me? After I paid for everything. The phone fell out of my hand onto the couch. Kevin, the man I've been dating for 2 years, looked up from where he was sitting and saw my face before I could explain anything. I didn't yell or start crying. I just picked my phone back up, opened the message conversation with my family, and typed 2 simple words back to Dad. "Sure thing." Sleep didn't come that whole night. That message glowed on my phone screen long after I turned it off and put it down. I had spent all that money on the trip, but somehow I was still the outsider, the person who didn't belong in their perfect family picture. Every couple of minutes, my phone would light up again with old texts from Mom. "Don't forget your sunscreen. You're such a wonderful daughter." Each message felt like a lie now, pretty words carefully chosen to keep me quiet before they hurt me. At exactly 14 minutes after 6 the next morning, I made myself a cup of hot tea. The apartment was so quiet I could only hear the refrigerator humming and the small clock on the wall going tick, tick, tick. Kevin leaned against the kitchen counter, watching me carefully. "Did they explain why?" I shook my head side to side. "Just said things would be better if I wasn't there." He let out a long, slow breath. "That's not better. That's them being too scared to be honest." I didn't say anything back. I just stared out the kitchen window, watching the morning sun slowly spread across the street. I had spent my entire life cleaning up their mistakes and solving their problems. Maybe this time I would let them deal with their own mess. By 7 o'clock in the morning, my phone started buzzing again, but nobody was saying sorry. Mom's voice filled my voicemail, angry and sharp and almost crying. "Sarah, this is absolutely crazy. The ship workers won't let us get on without the person whose credit card paid for everything. You need to call them immediately." I took a small sip of my tea. "No, I really don't," I whispered to myself. 37 missed calls later, I finally answered. "Sarah," she snapped, her voice high and tight. "We're standing here holding all our suitcases, looking like criminals or something." I pressed the speaker button so Kevin could hear from across the kitchen. "You should have thought about that before you decided I wasn't worth bringing along," I said in a calm, steady voice. "You're embarrassing us in front of all these people," she shouted into the phone. "No," I answered back. "You embarrassed yourselves." Then I ended the call and set my phone down. 4 hours later, someone started banging on my front door. Loud, impatient knocking that made the whole door shake in its frame. I stood at the top of our stairs, looking down at their dark shapes moving behind the cloudy glass. Kevin walked up next to me. "Want me to talk to them instead?" I shook my head. "No, I want to look at their faces when they try to explain this." Mom pushed her way inside first, smelling like expensive perfume and anger. Dad came in behind her quietly, acting like he was trying to keep the peace. "This is beyond childish, Sarah," she said sharply. "Do you have any idea how much you embarrassed us?" "I think I know exactly how that feels," I said back. Dad lifted both his hands up. "Let's not yell at each other. We just need to have a calm conversation." That phrase, "have a calm conversation," was their secret code for "you're going to apologize and take all the blame." When Kevin stepped forward wearing no shoes and looking relaxed, Mom turned all her anger toward him instead. "Ever since you started seeing him, you've become different. Cold and mean and always thinking about yourself first." Kevin didn't even blink. He just said one word: "Leave." His voice was quiet, but it meant business. "You don't get to come into her home and insult her and still expect her to save you from your own bad choices. You have 30 seconds to walk out that door." For just a moment, even Mom stopped talking. Then she turned around, mumbling something mean about ungrateful children, and slammed the door so hard the windows rattled. The silence that filled the room after they left felt heavier than any screaming match. It was the sound of something breaking apart and staying broken forever. For 4 whole days, my apartment stayed peaceful and quiet. No phone calls, no text messages, just silence that sat there thick and heavy like the air right before a big thunderstorm rolls in. I tried to focus on my work, but every little sound, an email notification dinging, the wooden floor creaking under my feet, felt like an old memory trying to knock on my door. Kevin didn't say much. He just kept making enough coffee for both of us every morning. That was his way of reminding me I wasn't going through this alone. On the 5th morning, my phone started buzzing like crazy again. 37 missed calls piled up one after another. Same number, same desperate energy. I didn't pick up, not until the 38th rang. "Sarah," Mom's voice exploded through the speaker, full of panic and fear. "They're refusing to let us on the boat. They said the person whose card paid for everything has to be standing here in person." I set my coffee mug down very slowly and carefully. "That's really interesting," I said, "because you specifically told me things would be better without me there. This isn't a joke. You're making us look absolutely ridiculous in front of everyone here." "No, Mom, you both did that all by yourselves." I hung up the phone and turned it face down on the table. Kevin leaned against the kitchen counter, his mouth curved into a calm, knowing smile. "Actions have consequences," he said simply. I nodded my head in agreement. Finally, by lunchtime, someone rang the doorbell again. Heavy, angry knocking that wouldn't stop. I didn't rush to answer. I watched from the top of the stairs as their dark shadows appeared again behind the frosted glass door. Mom stood very straight and stiff. Dad's shoulders slumped forward like he already wished he hadn't come. Kevin asked quietly, "Are you absolutely sure you want to let them in?" I said, "Yes, because I want to watch them try to twist this story around again." Mom burst through the door the second I opened it, not even waiting for permission. Her hair looked messy and wild from the humid air near the ocean. Her lipstick smeared at the corner. "Sarah, do you even understand what you've done to us? They treated us like we were trying to steal something. Every single person at that dock was watching us." I crossed my arms over my chest. "Maybe next time you won't use someone else's credit card without permission." Her eyes went wide with shock. "Excuse me? You used my card to pay for a vacation you didn't want me on. That's called stealing, Mom." Dad took a step forward, trying to smooth things over. "Sweetheart, we just need to sit down and have a calm conversation about this." There was that phrase again. I interrupted him. "That phrase right there, the one you always use when you want me to say sorry and pretend everything is fine." Mom's voice cracked and shook. "You humiliated us. We are your parents, Sarah." "I know exactly who you are," I said quietly, "and you've made sure everyone else knows too." Kevin came down the stairs slowly, barefoot with his hands tucked into his pockets. His calmness seemed to make her even angrier. "Ever since you started dadding him, you've completely changed," she shouted, her voice getting louder. He smiled just a little. "She learned that she doesn't have to pay money to be treated badly." For a few seconds, nobody said a single word. Then Mom turned around to leave, mumbling curse words under her breath. The door slammed shut again. This time I didn't jump or flinch. I just let the silence settle over everything, thick and peaceful like a warm blanket. It didn't feel like I was losing something anymore. It felt like the beginning of something I should have started doing many years ago. I didn't hear anything from them for 4 more days. Then on the 5th evening, Dad sent me a text message. "Dinner, just you and me. We need to talk." No apology. No explanation of what he was sorry for, just an invitation that felt more like an order. I told Kevin I was going to meet him, but I asked Kevin to wait in his car across the street. He nodded without trying. To change my mind. That was one of the things I loved about him. He knew the difference between saving someone and just being there to support them. Their front porch light was already glowing when I drove up, shining too bright, too welcoming, like a stage set up for a performance. Inside the house, the fancy dishes were laid out on the table, cloth napkins folded perfectly, silverware polished until it gleamed, and the bottle of expensive wine I'd given them for Christmas last year was open on the table, as if kindness could be recycled and used again. Jason met me at the door first with a fake smile, the kind he wore to sad events and family photos. Lily didn't even look up at me. Her shoulders were tight and she looked exhausted. Mom floated into the room like a TV cooking show host. Dad sat down at the head of the table with his hands folded together, performing the role of a fair and reasonable man. We tried making small talk. The words fell flat and clattered on the floor between us like dropped forks. After we'd each eaten a few bites of roasted chicken that I couldn't even taste, Dad cleared his throat and leaned back in his chair, the signal that we'd finally reached the real reason for this dinner. "It's such a shame that Cruise didn't work out," he said lightly, like bad weather had canceled it instead of their own choices. "But families need breaks and time to relax. We discovered an amazing deal on a resort in Colorado. 6 nights, beautiful mountain views, hot tub under the stars." Mom slid a shiny, colorful brochure across the table toward me like she was my personal travel agent. "If we all chip in and split the cost, it won't be as hard on you financially." Won't be as hard on me. Always thinking about me, they claimed. I kept my face completely still. "Who's going to pay for it?" Dad chuckled like I'd made a funny joke. "You're so good at handling all the money stuff," Jason added quickly. "You always take care of everything." The whole room seemed to tilt sideways a little bit. I looked over at Lily, whose lips were pressed into a thin, brave line. She whispered so quietly I almost couldn't hear her. "They're never going to stop doing this." Mom's head snapped toward her like a snake striking. "That's enough from you." I pushed my chair back from the table, the legs scraping loudly against the floor. "I'll think about it and let you know." Outside, the cool evening air felt so much cleaner and easier to breathe. Kevin sat in the parked car, watching the lit-up porch from across the dark street. I climbed into the passenger seat and said absolutely nothing. He didn't ask any questions. We drove back to our apartment. Without speaking, the kind of silence that protected us rather than hurt us. The next morning, a fancy gift bag appeared on my doorstep. Shiny silver paper, a bright red bow tied so tight it looked like it might snap. I carried it inside, set it on the coffee table, and just stared at it for a very long time. Kevin raised one eyebrow. "Do we open it or just call it what it really is?" I opened it slowly. Inside was a thick white envelope and a folded travel brochure printed on heavy, expensive paper. When I saw my own name at the very top of the reservation form, my stomach felt like it dropped through. The floor: 6 nights Mountain Sky Resort, Colorado. Main guest, Sarah Chen. Additional guests listed below. I flipped to the last page. The payment line made my vision go sharp and focused. Credit card ending in 3892, my card. The one they'd saved from the cruise booking. They'd used it again without even asking me. Again. All the air left my lungs, not because of how much money it was, I could handle the money part, but because of what it really meant. You don't get to make choices. We make them for you. Kevin came in from the kitchen when he saw the look on my face. What happened now? They used my credit card, I said, my voice hollow. And it's non-refundable. They made sure of that. He watched me for a long, quiet moment and then asked very gently, "So what do you want to do about it?" I turned the papers over and over in my hands. The dates were printed clearly, this coming weekend. Check in under my name, my responsibility, my power if I chose to use it. They're expecting me to cancel everything, I said slowly. To fix their mistake, to lose all the money, to just accept it. Then don't, he said simply. Those two words landed inside me like a key turning in a lock, opening a door I didn't know was there. We packed light and fast. Sunscreen, 2 books to read, comfortable clothes, sunglasses. I forwarded all the booking information to my own email account again. My name, my home address, my confirmation numbers, my credit card payments. All the receipts sat in a neat little folder on my phone like quiet soldiers standing in a perfect row, ready if I needed them. The flight to Colorado was short and smooth. Mountain air greeted us when we stepped off the plane, cool and crisp like biting into a fresh apple. The resort lobby was all wood beams and stone fireplaces, soft piano music playing, and air that smelled like pine trees. A friendly woman at the front desk looked up and smiled warmly. "Welcome, Ms. Chen." Hearing my own name spoken in that tone, welcoming, not demanding, made the tight knot at the base of my neck loosen and relax. She handed me the plastic room key cards. Checking in took exactly 12 minutes. That's all. 12 simple minutes to feel like I had finally stepped back into my own life and my own choices. The suite was even bigger than the pictures online showed. A private balcony overlooked snow-capped mountains in the distance. There was a wooden hot tub built for 2, a basket of fresh apples and oranges, white curtains that moved gently in the breeze like someone breathing slowly and peacefully. Kevin set our bags down on the floor and whistled low. "This is way nicer than I thought it would be." "It should be," I said. "I've paid for it twice now." We did absolutely nothing important for 3 whole days. We hiked an easy trail that wound through trees that smelled like Christmas and sunshine mixed together. We ate pancakes on the balcony while a small chipmunk watched us like a nosy neighbor. We took long naps with the curtains wide open and warm sunlight streaming across the bed. No phone calls, no angry text messages. I put my phone on airplane mode and felt my body slowly remember what real quiet and peace could feel like, how it could fill you up instead of empty you out. On the 4th morning, I switched my phone back to normal mode. Notifications rushed in. Like water bursting through a broken dam. Missed calls, text messages, voicemails all piling up on top of each other. The first message that loaded made me laugh out loud, not because anything was actually funny, but because it was so predictable I could have written it myself. "Mom, did you seriously take the trip we planned? How could you?" "Dad, the resort is saying someone is already in the room. You need to fix this immediately. You've humiliated us again." There were texts from Jason filled with words like selfish and dramatic and unbelievable. There was one long message from Dad that tried the old gentle approach he always used. "Your mother is extremely upset. We honestly didn't think you would actually go this far." It had gone exactly as far as their own choices had taken it, no further, no less. A voicemail from Jason played next. He sounded breathless and shocked. "They won't let Mom and Dad check in. The reservation says it's under your name only and you're already there. This is really low, Sarah, really low." I took a slow, deep breath in and pressed the record button to leave a new voicemail for Mom. My voice sounded steady and grown-up, in a way it almost never had when I talked to her before. "You stole from me. This is what happens when you steal from people." I hung up and set the phone down like it was finally just a regular device again, not a weapon they could use against me. By late afternoon, the story had spilled out onto social media. My cousin Emma posted a group picture from a family cookout in someone's backyard with a caption that said "Family first always." No drama, just love. Underneath in the comments, someone asked, "Where's Sarah? Haven't seen her in forever." A minute later, Mom replied for everyone to see. "She chose not to join us. We're not sure why. She's been acting very strange lately. My chest tightened, not because I was surprised. This was her special skill, rewriting history in public, but with a quiet kind of tiredness from seeing the same trick over and over. Moment later, a new private message arrived on my phone from Lily. "They're lying about everything. I'm so sorry this is happening. I'm going to tell people the truth." She attached a photo of the old cruise paperwork I'd put together months ago, my name clearly printed at the top as the person who paid, every single line item listed neat and clear as bones. "You don't owe me that," I typed back quickly. "Just take care of yourself first." But the family wheels were already turning and picking up speed. Aunt Marie sent me a message. "Can you send me the receipt?" 2 cousins messaged me within an hour. "Is it true they used your card without asking again?" I didn't write long explanations or angry rants. I just sent screenshots. Payment confirmations, bank statements, receipts, everything. Every single time I pressed send, the anger sitting in my ribs loosened another notch, like untying a knot one loop at a time. Facts are so much calmer than apologies. Facts don't shake or cry or beg. That evening, I poured sparkling water into a fancy glass, walked out onto the balcony, and watched the mountain peaks turn pink and gold in the sunset. Kevin joined me, standing shoulder to shoulder. "You know what this feels like?" he asked thoughtfully. "Like the moment when a bully finally realizes the teacher's been standing right behind them the whole time, watching everything." I smiled for real. "And the teacher is holding all the receipts."